So I'm going to jump into the presentation a little bit about who I am and what I do. I'm a real estate broker. I've been doing this a little over 33 years, primarily headquartered in Radnor Township for 33 of those years. I do lots of things in real estate. Majority would be residential real estate, but I'm involved in all facets. I do lots of speaking. I do lots of radio shows, and I do a lot of writing. I write for a lot of different journals around the country. A couple things that I've been featured on most recently that are recent is Philadelphia Inquirer front page real estate section. We'll talk about that tonight. It's about virtual reality and how we use that in real estate. Okay? So we're going to jump ahead, and we're talking again about the book. We're going to talk about some improvements to make, which are good improvements to make, and where you get a return on your dollar if you are doing improvements. Some of the other things is about pricing. We'll walk you through pricing and why pricing is important. And then the final thing is how to prepare your home in advance to maximize what you're doing, okay? So some of you in the room are maybe in this quadrant. You're thinking about selling real estate. Maybe it's 2 years away, maybe it's 5 years away, maybe it's longer, okay? Couple points. At the top, we talk about changing the house from your home to a house. It's about removing all the personal property, the pictures, taking away all that and getting to turn your house into something that you can market to the public, okay? And then we talk about the showing condition, how to appeal to the wide market, changing the house to get it to appeal to everybody that's going to be looking at it. And then finally, we talk about preparation. That's this one. How far should you start in advance? We talk about, is a week enough time? A month? I believe on starting a year in advance. And I'll walk you through why tonight. So I'll explain why we start a year in advance and what's involved in the process. And most importantly, about the improvements. So we talk about starting in advance. There's lots of things that have to be done. So that might be carpet. Maybe your carpet's not a great color. Or the kitchen, maybe it's Formica cabinetry, or there's some colors that are dated. And we'll talk about all that tonight and which things you're going to get your return on your investment. And then we talk about how do you make these changes. So we started something called a concierge system. Everyone in the room is welcome to use it. It's complimentary. You can use it for life. Anyone that comes to my workshops. So if you need any one of the people in these categories, the painters, the plumbers, the electricians, the carpenters, anything for your house, these are all people that we vetted. So how do we vet these people? This is probably the most complex topic for this evening that we'll talk about, and it's about the pre-sale home inspection. And the concept here is this is something very new to this marketplace. If you go to California or Oregon, you'll find that when people are selling homes, they typically use this strategy. East Coast is very far behind what the West Coast is doing. So the way this strategy works is when you sell your home, before you put it on the market, you would do a pre-sale home inspection. And that's to figure out what might be wrong with your home. And you're doing this to find out before the buyer that's going to buy your home finds out, you find out. So basically, you're hiring a home inspector. They're going to come in and look at all the systems in your house. They're going to look at the electrical, the plumbing. They're going to look at your roof. They'll look at your grading. So we do this pre-sale home inspection well in advance of you putting it on the market. And the idea is to figure out what somebody will find out about your home before you go to sell it. And what we do with it is we set the expectations of the buyer before they buy your home. We give them the home inspection so that they have an idea in advance of what they're buying. Versus the old-fashioned way is you would sell your home, you would agree to a price, and then you're going to do, the buyer who's buying your home is going to do a home inspection. And then when they do the home inspection, they're going to find things wrong with your house. And then they're going to renegotiate your price. So you're going to potentially lose dollars that way. So the way it works is you have an opportunity by doing it 6 months or a year in advance of maybe fixing some of the things, or maybe getting estimates If you do it the old-fashioned way and you sell your home and you take it off the market, you have a very compressed period of time to do that. You're not going to have the time to get multiple estimates and get vendors in and try to get things done at a lower price. The next slide is something called the pre-sale appraisal, and that's a similar concept. Again, it's something you don't have to do, but it's having an independent third person weigh in on value. It's one way to help you establish value when you're selling your house. Yes, the real estate broker can help in that process. Yes, you can go to all these algorithms that exist in the world, like the Zillows and the quick side note. So Zillow is an algorithm. Zillow knows your address. It knows the square footage, assuming the square footage is correct. It's taking it from records. So that doesn't mean the square footage is correct. It doesn't always mean the bedrooms and bathrooms are correct. It doesn't know about your kitchen. It doesn't know that maybe your house backs up to Route 30 or 202 or the Pennsylvania Turnpike. It doesn't have any ability to figure out those nuances in the value, but it's just one way that people go and look at Zillow. You just have to be really, really careful because they can be off, quite a bit. So what we're talking about here is an independent person weighing in, unconnected to your selling process, who would help to give you a value. But the idea of this is that you only need to use it and share it if you need to. So you could use it to help you set value. It's just one way you could use to help set value, and you could also share it if you needed to. Obviously, if someone offers you, and you appraised it for $500,000, and someone offers you $525,000, then I would say you wouldn't need to share that because you're getting above the appraised value. And can the appraisals differ? Absolutely, they could. So in the corporate example, where a company is buying someone's home, many times they don't do one appraisal. Sometimes they do two. And then I've seen cases where they do three because they're averaging them. So they absolutely could vary. But again, it's something you don't have to do. I just think it's something that we talk about in the book, and it's just another strategy to have that you can use that could help you. Okay? we talked about in the beginning starting in advance, right? Starting way in advance so you can get stuff done. Then we talked about you might have to do some work, maybe, you know, some painting or some work, getting that done. Then we talked about maybe doing an inspection. Maybe you're going to check the house and do this pre-sale home inspection. Then we talked about an appraisal. Now we're at the point where we're pretty much deciding we're going to sell the house, and I'm taking the election. You could sell it on your own, you know, sell your home privately, or you can hire a real estate company. For tonight, I'm taking the assumption you're hiring a real estate company, and you would enter into something called a listing contract. And we talk about something in the book, it's called the day-to-day listing agreement. And the concept here is real estate companies can have you sign an agreement when you sell your home up to a year, okay? So if you enter into an easy exit agreement, that gives you the right to get out of it if you're not happy. And the reason you would get out would all these factors of what happens to people in the real estate world. You don't, you know, these are the complaints I hear from consumers when I get called in, like, I had my house on the market, I'm not getting feedback. You know, no one's calling me for feedback. The marketing wasn't in place. I'm not getting showings. There's no internet presence. You know, there's no video made of the house. There's no website. There's no marketing, no direct marketing. But these are all the kinds of things that I hear about continually. So this is an easy exit agreement, is a listing agreement that when you're selling your house and you hire a real estate company, you're not locked into a listing if you're unhappy with the performance. And the way it's worded is you can get out of it with 2 weeks written notice for any reason unless you're under contract for or actively negotiating a sale. So the idea is it forces the real estate company to perform at a high level so that if you're not happy with what they're doing, you can get out. So that's, in a nutshell, how it works. Okay, so we're going to move on from that. We're going to get into a little bit of the marketing. Again, we could do this for a full day, but we're just going to highlight some of the marketing that's really important. The first starts with still image photography. So pictures. Pictures are worth everything because the public is looking online before they come into your house and they want to see all the pictures. So we send in a professional photographer whose job is to take pictures of the inside, the outside, and then the next piece is they do a drone. So this is a picture, this is what a little drone looks like. You know, it's a little mini helicopter, and there's a camera attached right down here, and the idea is it takes a picture up overhead. It makes the house look more expensive, more important, and it shows the buyer the neighborhood. They can see what the lot looks like. What do the next door neighbor houses look like? So it's giving them lots of information, right? And we believe it's about giving all the information possible. And you want to provide as much information as possible because your buyers today demand that. So information is extremely important, and how you position and how you put it out is even more important. So that's the drone. After the drone, it gets into the copy. The copy is what we say about the house, the remarks, the written remarks. And the remarks are done by a female perspective. So we have someone in my group that their job is to write remarks because the male is not the decision maker in most housing purchases. What we found is the female is the decision maker. So we have the female write all our copy for us. And I'm not permitted because if I were to write copy, I would be talking about the roof, the electric, the plumbing, the garage. Then we talk about direct mail. There's direct mail cards. The idea of direct mail is that you can target anyone, not just in there's social media targeting, but there's also direct marketing targeting. So by that we mean targeting our audience, going after exactly the person we want. Then we get into single property websites, which are websites that have the address of the property, And that's done for the benefit of something called search engine optimization, or SEO. That's Google. How do you get a property to come to the top of a list? There's lots of tricks to do that. I went back to school and took a class on just about search engine optimization to understand how it works and how to utilize it. So this is just one of the strategies that helps your property come to a top of a list. Creating a website with the address of that property, Google loves that, and it helps elevate it. So when you're searching, it comes up to the top of a list. Because guess what? If it doesn't come up to the top of a list, most people will pass. And if it's not in the beginning, the first couple choices, it's really worth nothing. So the last is the 3D tour with virtual reality. Remember I said earlier about being on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer? That was the story, and that's what it looks like. So the top left is a dollhouse view of someone's property. And the way it's created is it's created with a three-dimensional computer camera. So it takes, on average, about 4 hours. A typical home in Wayne, if we were to make it, convert it to a video like that, it takes 4 hours. The reason it takes 4 hours is the operator of it sets the computer camera down in the corner, leaves the room, controls it with an iPad. The computer camera spins all the way around, up, down, and it's grabbing all data about the room. So much data that if we were filming this room, it would see imperfections in the ceiling. Somebody has hit some of the ceiling tiles with probably a pole or something. You'd be able to see depressions in the ceiling. You could zone in and see what kind of speakers are these Bose. They are. You'd be able to see the branding of the speakers, the details of the clock, the pictures on the wall. You could go and really, really look at the room. And what's really cool about this is you can jump from floor to floor, from room to room, and you walk all the way through your house on a computer. You're either using a computer, a phone, an Apple, it doesn't matter. Okay? But the point is, it's easy to navigate, and people, before they go into the property, go online to look at these. They're highly effective. Statistically and analytically, right now, we're generating 754 views on average for every single home that has one of these. So I know they work. So all this, everything here that I talk about, that's all part of what I do. So I've opted to go what they call full service, and I've added tons more things to what I'm doing. So like we just invested in a machine that has the ability to remove odor from a house. And that's all something we do, because so many times I go into houses and they have dogs and pets and things. And so we decided to invest in technology to remove that, because that's one of the things that help or hurt the sale if there's, some kind of a cooking thing or a pet issue. So we've just elected to add all these services and include it in what we do. So we continually try to, I'm working right now on adding someone to the group that does, helps specifically with the right sizing process and helps sourcing all the stuff, figuring out where to go, come up with, alternatives. These are the various alternatives for all your stuff. This is where it can go. We also just added an historic home researcher to our group. So that's someone specific to the old house world who can come in and do research. And we've done 4 of them so far, where we go in and we figure out, her role is to figure out, take the property back to time 0 and figure out all the history and who's been in the house and who's owned it. Because people that like historical homes love that kind of thing. So we just keep trying to add stuff, and it's all part of what we do. So this is a little bit on the marketing stuff. Again, it's not everything, but this is really important. This is the floor plan that computer, the three-dimensional computer camera creates. When we're all done doing a particular house and we spend 4 hours on it, it takes about 2 days worth of computer processing time. So this computer camera uploads to a company in California, and it takes about 2 days to convert, and it converts it to this floor plan. So what's great about the floor plan, and it's missing from this, at the bottom, I just didn't have enough space. Normally it would tell you the square footage of the home, so it converts square footage. So one of the things we look at is, what does the county record say? So the county, Delaware County, might say your house is whatever square footage. This technology might give you a different, and it could be a larger number, which can affect value, because if you look at it from a price per square foot issue, if you thought your house was 2,350 square feet, all of a sudden it's 2,500 square feet, it helps value. This computer also is able to calculate limited headroom. So the houses in Wayne that I go into that have, the third floor attic that's, you can't really stand up in, this program has the ability to figure out height and whether someone can really walk through it, and it figures out exactly the square footage inside the house. Now, it does only shoot the interior walls, so it's a laser, so it's touching wall to wall, whereas the appraiser goes to the exterior of the house. So you have to just be aware of that, but it's a great thing. And this also is helpful for houses in Wayne where we think they're going to be renovated or enhanced, and someone's going to add a master suite or a family room or a second floor to them. You can take these floor plans, and they work really well when you're trying to figure out what to do with them and where to place furniture and stuff. They're also virtual. We now have software, a part of this program. You can lay rulers and measurement devices and things to it. The other piece to it is we can turn all these videos into virtual reality. So there I am right there. That was on the Philadelphia Inquirer. And this is when we started doing it. We were the first people in the market to do this and try it. I'm a technology nerd or whatever, and anything that comes out new, I always like to get it before anyone else does. So we started doing this, and we took all our tours, our videos, and converted them to virtual reality. So you need goggles like that, and if you have a goggle, you would insert your cell phone inside the goggles, and that becomes your viewing screen. And now you immerse yourself inside your home, and you can walk through it as if you're inside of it. It's the most bizarre thing you'll ever experience, because you can walk through and see things. Eventually, you will be able to alter. The virtual reality will be, that's what they're working on right now. You'll be able to take the floor plan of the virtual reality and remove this wall, and let's see it with pink, and let's put a piano in here. And then my mother, who happens to be located in New York, and my architect, who's in England, come in this virtual space and work together and figure out the house. And then you won't really need to go and look at the house. You'll be able to virtually look at the house. Now, does that mean that everyone's going to do this? Probably not, because people still want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to smell it. But it gives you the ability to do it. It's really interesting technology. The websites, we touched on this, but there's a gazillion websites that are out there. I can't tell you which is the best one. I can tell you that they alter continually. As different websites do things for search engine optimization and different things, they juggle for positions. So what we found is we just need to be in all of them. That's the key. Because your consumer that's buying your home is going on the internet before they're coming to your front door. They're looking at your pictures, they're going to look at your video, they're going to look at the drones, they're going to look at all that to figure out, do they want to come as visit number 2, which is coming inside the house. Years ago when I started, 30-some years ago, visit number 1 was a knock at the door and they come in to look at your house. Fast forward 30 years, visit number 1 is online, and that counts as visit number 1. Visit number 2 is when they come inside your house. So you have to be really careful about all that. And then finally, we talk about the appointment system, how you generate showings for your property. And this is just something we use. It's an automated service that makes it very friendly for agents that want to show our inventory to schedule showings. So basically, it's a 24/7 operation. This service allows an agent to schedule a showing of your home at any time of the day or night. It doesn't mean they're going to call you to confirm at 2 in the morning if someone's up setting up appointments. But what this service can be is it's programmed to follow exactly what you want, what the seller, how they want to handle showings. Do they need a call first to confirm? Do they need time to take the pet to the pet place? Do they need to get their mom who's, slow out of the house at a certain time? Do they need to, they had a meeting that day, so they need to, all these people need to be notified, and this service will follow exactly how you want it to be set up.